Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to make this Super Orbit necklace featured in this month's subscription box. If you want details on the materials or the subscription box, look below the video. In those details of the video, click that show more and you can get links to get back to our site. Gather up your supplies and let's have fun and get started. So we're gonna have fun using some different color of the Halo SuperDuo beads and make a nice necklace to wear into the fall with some nice darker colors. It would look great with these different halo colors. We are using some SuperDuo beads in 4 different colors and we're using 11O seed beads. To begin, I have my 4 colors here of my seed beads and I have a size 10 beading needle with size 8 dragon thread. I'm gonna put a stop bead on my project so I can add my clasp later. Putting on the bead, letting it drop down till I have about 10 inches left on my 5 feet of thread so that way I can again put that clasp on. Or you can also build the middle of the necklace and then add and build the side so you make sure that you have the correct length that you want. We are going to begin with our lighter seafoam color and we are going to start with a section here of right angle weave. 4 beads go onto our threaded needle and we are going to go back through beads 1, 2, and 3. Give a nice tight pull and push it down next to that stop bead. From here, I want you to add 1 11O seed bead, and we're going to add 1 of that sea color. Once you've got that on there, we are going to reverse the thread. The thread's going to come from the top hole to the bottom hole of that SuperDuo. And as we're in the bottom hole of that SuperDuo, we're going to add 5 more SuperDuos. Those SuperDuos are going to sit separated out by 1 11O seed bead. So we're going to get 5 more on, and we also want to make sure that we have an 11O at the end. Take your needle now and go into the opposite side of that bottom hole of the SuperDuo that your thread was coming out of. Nice tight pull. Reverse the thread, back up through that same SuperDuo. If you want a little tighter, you can go to the opposite side. And now we're going to put on 3 seed beads on the outer edge. As we put the 3 seed beads on the outer edge here, you are going to add the 3 11O seed beads and sew into the next open hole of the next SuperDuo. 3 seed beads on, open hole of the next SuperDuo. Now, when you're doing a group of 6 or a group of 8 of your SuperDuos, you will have consistently 3 of your 11O seed beads on the outer edge. If it starts to get a little tight or it starts to pucker a little bit, you can put a 4th one in somewhere. No one's really going to know the difference. We're going to try to make these all be circles. As you come around to the very start, we are only going to add 1 more 11O seed bead because we already have an 11 there that we attached to with the right angle weave and 11 that we put on before the SuperDuo. We're going to sew back through that 11 before the right angle weave and the 11 before the SuperDuo, and then go ahead on right through the SuperDuo as well. You'll notice as I'm doing this that I'm pulling a little bit tight and flattening out those SuperDuos with my fingers. I'm going to take my needle and thread down through the outer edge here, all the way through those 11s that I just put on and the SuperDuos that I just put on, down to sit opposite of the original right angle weave unit. We're going to be doing all of these in even groups, so we do have middles. And the middle top is going to be the end of my necklace. The middle bottom is where I'm continuing on. Coming out of bead number 2 at that middle bottom, add 3 more beads for another right angle unit and go back through bead number 2 that your thread is currently coming out of. That creates that right angle unit. We're going to sew through, that's bead number 1 that we're coming out of, bead number 2, and bead number 3 of our right angle unit, just like we did when we started. Now we're going to do the same thing again and we're going to progress to a lighter blue color. 1 11O, our bead goes on, let it drop down next to that right angle weave and reverse the thread. From the top hole to the bottom hole, nice tight pull, and you're going to once again put on some more SuperDuos. This time we're going to increase our count from 6 SuperDuos total in the loop here to 8 SuperDuos. So I have 1 already on. There's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Making sure that afterwards I have an 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to come back to that starter SuperDuo and go back through it the opposite side. That's going to create my next ring or my next circle of my SuperDuos. Nice tight pull on the thread and reverse the thread back to the top hole of the SuperDuo. Give that nice tight pull there, and we're going to go around just like we did on the group of 6 and connect these 8 SuperDuos through their second hole with 3 seed beads. Remember, with these YouTube videos, you can always slow them down. You can always put pause. You can also change your YouTube setting so you watch things at a 1 speed, a 1.5 speed, a 2 speed, or you can even slow it down to 0.5 speed. I know I talk quickly sometimes. So I'm going around here putting all of these seed beads onto my thread and needle. And as I come back around, we're going to do the same thing that we did with our original one. We're going to just add 1 more seed bead. Go back into that bead number 3 of that right angle weave unit there, and back into the seed bead and the SuperDuo that follows. That creates our next round loop. From here, just like we previously did, we're going to go in and sew along the outer edge of our SuperDuos and our 11-0 seed beads and get to the bottom or the middle of those 8 SuperDuos. As we're pulling and getting that through there, once we get out the bottom here, we are once again doing a right angle weave unit. The right angle weave unit will be 3 more beads back through bead number 2 that we're currently coming out of in that group of 3. Coming out of bead number 1 right now of your right angle weave, you're going to go through bead number 2 and come out bead number 3. Now when I come out bead number 3, I'm going to switch to my halo Persian pink. Add an 11, add my halo, and that halo SuperDuo, then my thread's going to reverse from the top hole to the bottom hole. Now we're going to increase from 6 to 8 to now 10 beads. The 10 beads we're going to switch a little bit as we put these on then, and around the outer edge we're not going to put 3 every time. It's going to get that 2 kind of puckered up, and if we put 2, it makes it into an oval. So I'm going to show you the count that we do for both the grouping of 10, and then when we get into that royal blue color, the grouping that we do for 12. So to keep this as most of a circle as possible and just keep it nice and simple materials, as we go around the outer edge here, we're doing 2, then 3, then 2, 2, 3. You always want the one that sits across from the starter there, where we're going to do our right angle weave, to have 3. Every single loop we do, that one definitely has 3. So we did 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, and then we're doing 3. The reason that those are like that is because I want them to sit kind of on a diagonal so it doesn't pull to one side or the other. Another 11-0 seed bead goes on, and as that goes on, I go into the opposite side of the right angle weave bead number 3 that the thread was originally coming out of. I go over and along the outside. If you're using a 15-0 or you have a different brand seed bead, just pay attention to and work around with it and see what fits. Do I need 2 beads? Do I need 3 beads? What fits along that outer edge? That is determined as you're making it. You don't want to pull too tight on this because you want it to lay nice and flat. And again, always on the evens. So always kind of at the start of that circle, and on the opposite side, the end of that circle, you always want 3 seed beads. That's because we need a center for our right angle weave. Now we have 1, 2, and 3 more 11-0 seed beads on. Back through that bead that your thread is currently coming out of. And now we get to put on our cobalt color. As we put on our cobalt color, I'm going to increase the count from 10 to 12. 12 is going to be the maximum that I do for this necklace, just to keep it kind of balanced and perfect for kind of that end of summer. 11-0 goes on, bead goes on, and once again, reverse. As we go around this center section, same thing. We're going to put on 11 more SuperDuos. So we have a total of 12, 11 before and 11 after that grouping. We're going to sew it into a circle, and then I'll show you the counts for the sides with the 11 seed beads as we connect that second hole. Because 12 is easily divisible by 3, this one is nice to keep it nice and rounded. 2, 2, then 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, and then I add that 1 seed bead to make it a total of 3 as we go around. And you just want to make sure when you're, so this will flip all around, you want to make sure that you're going into the opposite side of where the thread was coming out of always with that right angle weave grouping. Now that I have that beautiful progression here, I'm going to drop that progression back down, and I'm going to go back from this count of 12 and drop it back down into a count of 10 with my pink color again. And that is it. You're just going to keep going, getting bigger, getting smaller. If you want to, you can jump from 12 to 6 and have a different look as well versus the kind of cascading and graduated look. You can jump from one to the other. So it's up to you exactly what color range, if you want to do all different colors in your single sections, if you want to do it like this where you're doing each one a color. I can't wait to see your versions in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Make sure to post there. And if you do want to check out the colors as well as the subscription box where this is present, go ahead and look below the video in that description. All right, I've got 4 done, tons more to go. I'm going to keep going, getting smaller and bigger, and that will finish out then that whole circular necklace. At the end of the necklace, it's time to add your clasp. And this is about 17 inches. If you want it a little bit longer, you can just repeat. I would say repeat the 6s and just repeat in the same colors. That's kind of up to you. Showing you just as I pull it up here, here is the length that it sits on my neck, and I'm going to add my clasp to it. I did 3 full rotations of smallest to biggest in the loop here, and I'm going to grab my wire guard. So my wire guard here, I'm coming out of my last right angle weave, and I'm coming out through bead number 3, just like we've been doing. I'm going to grab 1 11-0, go up through the wire guard. You can use a lobster clasp, you can use a toggle clasp, you can use a beautiful clasp, darting clasp, kind of up to you. Oops, sorry. Up the 111 though, and then up through one of my SuperDuos here. So let me get my darker blue color here. 2 of those. Up through a SuperDuo. Add an 11-0. Then add your wire guard. Then go back down through your wire guard or wire guardian. Add your clasp, which for me is going to be one side of my toggle. Add another 11-0 seed bead. Come back down through that SuperDuo. Add 1 more 11-0 seed bead and go into the opposite side of that right angle weave and go into that same bead number 3 like we've been doing as we add in. Gives a nice polished finish edge. And I'm going to go back in and repeat, reinforcing the thread. Once you're done side number 1, you're going to do side number 3, or side number 3, side number 2. Going back down through here. Whenever you do your second pass through, you always want to make sure that your thread stays in that little channel of the wire guard. And then you're going to go back through that right angle weave here to straighten everything up. Weave back down into the project. And then now we are going to get rid of our extra thread. To get rid of the extra thread, I'm reversing the thread onto my SuperDuo. I'm going to go underneath the bridge thread, which is the thread that connects the inner there, making a loop. Not sewing through anything, just making a loop. I'm going to sew through that loop once, sew through that loop twice to create a nice little sewer's knot. It's going to go right in between that area there. Nice tight pull. Get your thread and needle to a second space. Pull it nice and tight again. Grab your thread burner or your thread zap. burn that all down flat against the beads in the project, making sure that you're not going to, by accident, burn the other one. Now on the opposite end here, I am going to stake off my starter bead and put my needle on and do the exact same thing, putting on the wire guard in the opposite side of my clasp. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this super orbit necklace. It's really fun to go in and just do simple designs, but knowing the right amount of seed beads is key. Can't wait to see yours again in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Don't forget, if you want to check out the subscription, go below the video into the details and get links back to our website. As always, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.